What's up, guys? Iceman here. So I made a video, the upcoming pre-registration for the Diablo 4 beta. While making that video, I came across these characters. Like, here's the Barbarian. I think it looks pretty damn good. He's thick, he's muscular and shit. He doesn't have that big fat belly as much that the Batista-oriented Barbarian has in Diablo 2 Resurrected. The beard and shit, makeup, it looks like a tough guy. And I think we get to customize him, to my understanding. Like, we're gonna, I'm hoping that we're gonna have a lot of customizable opportunities here in Diablo 4. Let me know what you guys think about that. So I think the Barbarian looks awesome. The Droid looks pretty good. And these are what seem to be different renders. Like, this isn't the same droid that I remember seeing the artwork of previously in the past few months over what this one is. But, I mean, some similarities. Like, this one has a much more grayish beard, for example. The face is a little different. But nonetheless, I'm hoping that these are just examples telling us that there's going to be plenty of customizable opportunity here. And there's a few gameplay videos of these guys in action. I think the droid gameplay looks awesome. And it's quite seamless how, like, depending on your move you're doing, I think, you quickly form into the werebear or the werewolf. And then you form out of it. So you can kind of be like what would be an elemental slash, what do you call it? Werebear, werewolf hybrid kind of droid. If this were D2, for example. So I'm really looking forward to that. In fact, I don't know. I'm kind of split as to what character I want to make initially. Let me know in the comments what characters do you guys think you want to make, or what's your go-to character you think you'll make for Diablo 4. Here's the Rogue. Maybe it's quite fitting. This one actually has quite a trailer to it. The trailer was actually pretty entertaining.
I was a thief. Then we are students and me.
The gameplay. The Rogue just seems a bit hunched over. Like, it's always like this. It's like it has scoliosis or something. That's my problem with the Rogue. I don't know if that's just always going to be a thing or what. But yeah, it's just that Rogue is just like always like super hunched over. It looks like a little hunchback or some shit. Like, that would be cool if we had options in terms of their stance. Can you imagine that? That's probably something to do with what we might be seeing ahead in the future of gaming, I would hope anyway. Of course, 20-some years ago, we were all thinking games were just going to be straight up awesome these days, and that's really not the case, is it? But nonetheless, I don't see why that wouldn't be a feature in the future. Just to, like, have a few stance options, you know what I mean? Where you can make your character, like, be crouching more battle-ready looking. Maybe what they were going for the Rogue, or just more upright. Like the Sorcerer in this, I like the stance of the Sorcerer, and I really like the gaming footage of the Sorcerer. And I guess they're just called the Sorcerer, right? That's just what they're gonna call them. Seeing of all the, seeing how there are like no absolutes these days or whatever. But that's fine. I'll call it the Sorcerer, and check it out. Yeah. Look at how they stand. You see that? Look at how she stands. It's great. See how she's standing there? Like nimble. You know, it creates that sort of... It embodies that this is a mage class, maybe somewhat vulnerable. It's nimble, it's sleek, but it's rather fragile. Kind of like what we had with the Diablo 2 Sorceress, but I think that they really stepped away from that in D2R, where they just made her very thick. You know, thick-ass legs, thick-ass neck, thick-ass chin, just all chiseled as fuck out. It's not as immersive. Like, this is immersive. You feel like a fucking mage when you're like this, I think. So I like the gameplay footage, but what's rather strange is what's going on here. This looks like something completely different from what we've been seeing in the trailers and everything else. Like, there's actually a trailer right here. You can see the sorcerer or the sorceress. It's a pretty good trailer right here, in fact. Yeah, here's the gameplay though. The gameplay's great. From what I think so far. But you see the face there, it just looks a lot different. I mean, these features, softer features, not a chiseled as fuck chin. It's like they weren't chewing on that gum that builds up your chin muscles and all that, gives you a chiseled ass fucking jaw. That maple tree sap gum stuff. Looks like she hasn't been like indulging on that 24 hours a day. But this one, there's just something going on here. So I'm hoping that Blizzard, they give us the customizable options, you know, and I think they might, but I'm hoping that they're quite in-depth, where we can change, like, everything about the character. You know, I really don't give a shit if they're all, like, if they're all modernized or whatever you want to call it, as long as we can have it to our option and to our taste, the tweaking of them, like, all over the place. Like, hopefully there's going to be facial, all that shit, and maybe even some body options. But I mean, stance would be even more epic in my opinion if they were to add stance options as well. But the stuff is just important because we're playing this game for hours on end, and these characters are just in the center of the screen all the time. You know what I'm saying? Like, you're staring at it all fucking day if you're playing the game. So it seems to be a very valid point and very valid argument that why not give us the option to have more of the character that we want to see on the screen here. And I like characters that are visually appealing, and although that might be somewhat, what's it called? Like, it's not like an absolute thing or whatever. It's subjective. Subjective might be kind of subjective. But I mean, obviously, there are massive trends throughout history as to what people find to be visually appealing when it comes to attraction or when it just comes to visual appeal. So whether I'm playing a big, thick barbarian or a mage or a rogue or whatever, or even a druid for that matter, I feel like with a druid, I might want him to be kind of fat and shit. But beyond that, you know, just I think I hope that they do give us these options, where we can tweak them and do whatever we want with them, basically, in terms of their aesthetic, to where all of our characters look different, you know? And then they'll really stand out. Like, you could look at your buddy's character and you'll know it right away compared to your other buddy's character, even if they're all the same class, you know, even if they're wearing similar gear. That would just be cool, I think, if they do give us all these customizable options. And I know this is a step away from what we got in Diablo 2, but it looks like that they're not going back to that. But I think that might actually be a great thing that I'd be willing to embrace, is just having these customizable characters that have like a lot of depth to it. But let me know what you guys think about that in the comments below. And what do you think about Diablo 4 thus far? I have been quite optimistic for it and quite excited, actually. Like, when I saw this whole beta registration thing, that was one of my more exciting moments in gaming over the past couple years, really. So, because I'm just kind of startled by how soon this might actually be where we can play it. And the environment, a lot of other things in the game, the little hitbox thing, where the hitbox is follows your weapon, follows your projectiles and everything else. It just looks like they're really paying attention to detail here. So I'm really liking what they have going on so far. The itemization thing kind of concerns me. The items look similarly to what they do in Diablo 3 in terms of their attributes and all that crap. But at the least, your skills have, for example, offensive skills. They do have base damage that they offer. And as you level them up, they increase in their base damage and whatever other effects that they have. So that's something that takes us back a bit more toward what it was like in Diablo 2. So I'm really looking forward to seeing how this game goes, man. But I mean, this is just just a thing that came to mind. Is I wonder if we're going to have, all the customizable features that we're anticipating. I'm hoping we do, but what do you guys think? Let me know in the comments below and like this video if you will. Peace be with you.